get this nonsense, right? We live in a society which tells us a lot about the comic book writer than the characters themselves. Because at this point, like, no one even cares about the characters anymore. I don't see people with Wonder Woman t-shirts going around or keychains. Like, everyone is wearing manga shirts and anime waifus as their keychain. And this is why, right? Like for example, you got this individual, Tom King, which is going to create a Joker-level villain for Wonder Woman. And he meant a character who is the opposite of Wonder Woman in every way. So what does he make? Does he care about the personality of the character? No, of course not. It's the pedigree, the heritage, the race, the sexuality. Right? He creates an old white dude. It's so bizarre, isn't it? Like if, for example, someone would say, I'm going to create the opposite of Goku. And then they create like a black guy or something. This is the opposite. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, no one gives a shit. Okay? Like, we care about the personality of the character. Like, what are his drives, his motivations. I genuinely don't care about how their parents fucked. Like, this tells me nothing about the character. Now, if you're a raging racist working in the American comic book industry, you genuinely believe that knowing how someone's parents fucked, you kind of are able to assess how that person's personality ends like. Like, it tells you everything you need to know about the person. It's like some level of racist astrology. Like, just because you know, it's like, show me the family tree and I can tell you literally everything there is to know about that person. And if you disagree with me, you're a racist because I'm an anti-racist. Like, this is how things go. But not only that, they're even incapable of playing into their stereotypes. They're even incapable of playing into their racism. It's like, okay, so if you want the opposite of Wonder Woman, had you known the lore, right, and you weren't just hired in the company because of nepotism or whatever other reasons, if you actually read the comic, Wonder Woman is ancient. Like, she's hundreds of years old. So, if anything, if you wanted to go by, like, arbitrary characteristics, you would have had a young man. Wonder Woman is also white, so it'd probably be, like, a young black dude that would be her, quote-unquote, Joker. Like, it'd be the villain. But you're not allowed to do that, right? Like, the current culture forbids you from making a black villain because you are being dominated by the people on Twitter. So if you were to do that, you would cause outrage. And then, like, the 10 people that read your comic would start reading it. So, like, you're going to go for the generic white guy and be like, I have made the right-wingers upset. Wah! It's like, okay, congratulations, but did you make any money? Well, okay. Well, you know, it is what it is. I mean, what can I say? I genuinely, like, do not even care. But, like, the fact that you're even making him the sovereign and he's like royalty. News fucking flash. Wonder Woman is a princess. Like Princess Diana. If anything, he should be a serf. Like, if you want to make the opposite of her, and you're looking about like the heritage and whatnot, that she is literal royalty. Right? Like, she actually comes from an aristocratic family. Unless, like, they changed the lore. And they may have. I don't know. But this doesn't make any sense. And of course, he is misogyny. He hates women. Doesn't the people from Themyscira, like, doesn't the women from Themyscira hates men? Like, that is even, like, a couple of themes in a lot of comic books where the Amazons are fighting with the Atlanteans, and usually it's literally because of sexismus. In fact, like, there was actually a story, like, you guys who read comic books probably know it better than me. It was very interesting. Like, the Amazons would, the way they would procreate is that they would find a ship of sailors. So they would board that ship and attack the men and then have sex with them. And everyone was like, oh my god, well, we're having sex with these, like, beautiful Amazonian waifus. Like, this is so cool. And after all the Amazon women would be pregnant, they would kill the men. I guess it's so that they don't talk about the encounter, so that they don't... I mean, the people of, from Themyscira, are not very progressive individuals, you know? But still, I like that because it makes for an interesting story and interesting characters. But that's when you focus more on the personality. Like if you're that type of a racist and sexist, they're like, women, good, men, bad. People of color, good. People of non-color, bad. You're not going to make anything interesting. I mean, look at how manga is doing it. Look at My Hero Academia, which is more popular than any superhero comic book that America manages to shit out. They don't play into the identity politics at all. Like, they genuinely don't care. And some of their female characters are really beloved. Even, like, their villainous characters are really great. Like, they don't... The American comic books writer can't even hold a small candle next to them, and they demand respect. Like they generally expect me that I know who the fuck Tom King is, and I even read the garbage that they're putting out. Like, at this point, it's way beyond caring. Like no one even bothers. It's like, what is Wonder Woman? I don't know, some sort of California nonsense shit. Like, let's talk about My Hero Academia. Let's talk about something that actually matters, you know, like something that actually hires writers and competent people. Like, this is just unbelievably stupid, because yet again, you know, if they just made this guy as the villain, it would have been interesting. But they haven't. They're going out and saying, well, this is the opposite of Wonder Woman, and then you create something that's very similar to Wonder Woman. I mean, like what are the differences besides maybe personality? But like, okay, so she's older than him, I guess. So, you know, like, they're both old people. They're both part of royalty. They're both white. They both have a lasso. Like what exactly is this like thing where it's like, oh, well, it's so different. It's like complete opposite. Blah blah blah. Oh my god. Yeah, it is what it is. The amusing fact again is that they do not know the lore of the stories that they write. Not to mention, right, like the king of a... Who the fuck cares? Like, dude, it's 2023. The monarchy is long gone, like, long over. Simply, like, trying to say that a king is evil. Like, you need to be a commie or something in order to think, like, oh, well, people wouldn't like a king now. I mean, you can still have dictators, right? Like, if it was the dictator of America, it would have been a lot more impactful, I suppose. Or if it was like someone like Lex Luthor, that's like a very wealthy businessman that controls things from the shadows. Like, maybe if it was Klaus Schwab. Is this Klaus Schwab? Holy shit, it's Klaus Schwab. Ah, now you managed to make an interesting and compelling villain, based by real events. Instead of America, it should be like the World Economic Forum. The World Poverty Forum. You can't use the World Economic Forum because it's plagiarism. The World Poverty... I mean, look, he is bald. He needs to speak with a German accent, though. And then... Yeah, suffice to say, like, no one is taking this seriously. I don't even know if the comic book writers themselves know how much people are laughing. Like, they're not even upset at this point. They're just laughing. But they probably don't know because they're sharing block lists that host their customers. So they don't even know, most likely, that people are just laughing at this. They're not even upset. Again, manga exists, which is probably why they're so livid and upset about it. It's like they do not want people to have an alternative. But the reality is, even without manga, I wouldn't read this shit. There's literally nothing here that... Like, the moment I see that the writer doesn't understand the story, I'm tuning out. I'm sorry. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.